Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9 Postgame Show. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have the most hated man in Pittsburgh tonight. Maybe the second most hated man in Pittsburgh tonight. Tyler, what's up, buddy?
I'm back. Hi. I'm sure those people aren't tuning in this one, but I'm back.
Yeah, the guy that hates Michael A. Taylor is on this postgame show again.
Yeah,
How dare
I don't
you?
know about hate, man, but
No, it's clear you hate him. You hate him.
Apparently, all I said was
maybe
just maybe not the biggest believer in it all, but hey,
yeah,
rooting for the guy. Rooting for the guy.
Listen, I get it. And I felt you both had good viewpoints on it. I, of course, side more on Jim's point, but we don't need to go too deep into that. We have a post-game show to talk about. We have a Pirates victory against the New York Yankees. Yes, it's spring training, but hey, both teams rating 12. Means nothing. Let's talk about this game a little bit. Pirates do win 6-2 tonight. You know what? It was a game that didn't feature a whole lot of people in the lineup, right? So when we have we're lacking a lot of post-game shows this spring training because basically the lack of broadcasts, they're very sparingly. So when you do get one, you got to go live. And we got one with this lineup, and it's like, oh boy, what are we going to talk about this post-game show?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. We got something very encouraging to talk about. Maybe not a lot to talk about, right? There was a few bright spots. The few people that mattered were pretty much bright spots. But let's start with Quinn Priester because that was a bright spot.
Yeah, man. So I think back to when we were in Bradenton before Quinn Priester's first spring training start. And I believe I told you that all I want from Quinn Priester is to see some soft contact. Because at that point in my brain, thinking Quinn Priester, I'm thinking a guy that's going to have to create ground balls. He's going to have to find a way to get through some innings without the hard contact because truthfully, that's what we saw all last year was he would get through some innings, but it would feel like you're just waiting on that other shoe to drop. Today, Quinn Priester, 5 strikeouts, and I don't want to diminish those strikeouts there because we don't see that often from Quinn Priester. But we're talking about a guy that had 7 groundouts tonight, no flyouts. He combined everything that I think I had hoped to see out of Quinn Priester, and he combined it all into tonight.
Right.
I don't know where I'm at with him right now. I don't want to. I've been back and forth on him. I do believe in him a little bit, but maybe not to the point that I did before. There's some sort of major league pitcher in that guy. It's just I don't know yet. I don't know. I need to see some more.
That's probably the best way to put it because I feel like in this spring, we've seen every version of Quinn Priester.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, I guess, maybe somewhat the frustrating part, but also encouraging part, because you have been completely frustrated. And even last start's a very good outing, what I'm going to say here. You saw he was dominating through 3, I think. Just looked almost basically tonight. Looked very, very good. So the encouraging wheels got in motion. And that 4th inning came, and it came crashing hard. And he said, well, you know what? The thing is, he looked good, right? The velocity has been encouraging all spring. I will say that part. But what's Quinn Priester's biggest problem?
Was it a little bit more encouraging today?
A little bit more encouraging today.
A little bit more.
Yeah. But his biggest problem, too, is once he gets past, going through the lineup the first time around, it's been something he's been able to do. It's once he hits the second time, and especially the third time, he just gets wrecked. And that's what we saw last week. He got to the 4th inning and just fell apart. And it's well, you know what? Yeah, that's Quinn Priester. Maybe he's just an opener. I said it somewhat in jest, but maybe he's just an opener. Maybe he's the 2 or 3 inning guy until Luis Ortiz or someone else comes in. They're going to have to get creative with this rotation possibly. So today, he looked really good. And I said, this is encouraging. This is what you want to see so far. What I'm more interested in is what's the second time to the lineup, and of course third, but of course it's spring training. We're probably never going to see a third time to the lineup, but good stuff today. He gave up 1 earned run. It was a home run. And Tyler, it wasn't going out of any major league ballparks.
No, it wasn't. But at the same time, in your brain, because I know my own brain, It's fourth inning. He gives up a home run. Are you secretly thinking like, here we go again?
Did you see my tweet? I said, "Welp," because it was right before the inning when I did say what I just said right now. I tweeted it out. You want to see him go through the second time and whatnot, and
Right.
it was followed up with the "Welp," because you're right. I was anticipating it to fall crashing.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess where I'm at now is if he's able to continue to get through an order like he is at this point, like he's shown in spring training to this point, where he's really been able to be very effective the first time through an order. I really do have a hard time believing he can't, and this team can't figure out some sort of strategy to get him through a second time in this damn order.
Right.
I just can't foresee a circumstance where we can't figure out some sort of thing with Quinn Priester where we can get through a second time here. Whether that be just throwing in the reverse or whatever it needs to be, but there's something there where you can't tell me that the guy can't get through 9 outs and just all of a sudden he's terrible.
Right. But at the same time, he's done it over and over and over again. And
I
that's why,
know.
like, this start is encouraging. It also is spring, and I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on it. You still want to see more. But when you're in a battle with Ronzi, who also
Yeah.
has some encouraging things, but honestly, more and more less encouraging that's happened so far this spring, and Luis Ortiz, like, there's a battle going on for like these few rotation spots. You want to see this. Like, so again, like, this was encouraging. There's still a few more weeks left. There's still some more starts. So you're going to build more sample and get more eyeballs in him to find out what he is. But like last week was a stepping stone. This week, build off of it. Let's continue this. But this was very encouraging by Quinn Priester. And again, like, that's as putting here 412 double play said, like, the swing and miss stuff, 48% whiff rate. Like, he was missing bats. That slider was nasty tonight. But like you mentioned too, the two-seamer, like, the velocity was there. You know, we're talking now mid-March. He's hitting 96. He was sitting at 94 and a half, I think, is what he averaged on that. He looks much better than last year. Now, that's a very low floor, but at least he looks much better than last year.
Yeah, man. Like, you brought up a good point there, comparing him to Ortiz and Ruanzi. We've both, I think, been on the Ruanzi and Ortiz on opening day, and Quinn Priester's kind of been an afterthought here, or at least they've been more on the forefront of it. Neither of them, if we look at the complete body of work here through this spring, and I know spring numbers don't really matter. If you look at the complete body of work, Quinn Priester's numbers are far and away better than both of theirs.
No,
I'll
give Rowanzi.
Mm.
To me, I kind of feel like maybe him and Luis Ortiz are kind of neck and neck. But like tonight was we'll talk about Ortiz a little bit more.
But we're not seeing outings where they're walking 4 guys. Well, from Quinn Priester. We're not seeing Quinn Priester walk 4 guys.
Yeah.
Are we seeing him? We're not. You know what? I don't even want to say that. We're not even seeing him giving up the hard hit balls like he did last year, where it's dong, 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 or this got caught, and that probably should have been a home run, or that should have been a base hit. I don't know. Give me a few weeks. Let me watch this develop.
So I think that's, again, like, that's the best path to take. And that's what I'm going by encouraging, because I know what you're saying, but at the same time, his struggle has never been like the first time through the lineup getting wrecked. Like, he's pretty much been effective the first time. Like, he finds a way to do it, right? Like, the velocity is still a concern, but he finds a way. It's just when he goes deeper into the games, he just gets wrecked. So you're not seeing that the first start, because he's not like given that ability. You saw it really like last week, and that's when he got wrecked. And today was an encouraging testament. Like, he proved himself against a pretty valid Yankees lineup. I mean, Juan Soto's in there. He struck out Juan Soto, and then it was either a ground out. Oh, it had to be a ground out because it wasn't a fly out. Then ground out to Juan Soto. So, like, you faced Juan Soto, and you embarrassed him and got him out.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like, you can't hide the ground outs. Like, it's spring. We know what happens. The numbers are going to be up hitting wise. When you get the ball on the ground, that translates. That's going to translate to a regular season. He's just looked like a capable major league pitcher, and it's
Yes.
scaring me. Now, here's
Why are
a
you
question.
scared, buddy?
You know what? Here's a question. I want to ask you, because if Quinn Priester were a 13th round pick with no prospect ranking, would we give a crap about him right now?
That's fair, because again, like, it is spring. It's spring. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, but it's spring. I mean, I guess I would be looking at it as, yeah, he's a 13th rounder, but hey, like, this was a good Yankees lineup.
Yeah, but are we
Like, it doesn't
even
mean
thinking
anything,
about him
but
being in on the opening day roster? Because I don't think that's an option either at this point. I feel like he's still on the outside looking in, but
is he on the outside looking in?
I
Well,
still think he is.
That's probably fair, but I guess I just feel like at this time, no one should be on the inside.
True.
Does that like make sense?
Yeah, no, that does.
Like,
Absolutely.
theoretically, I guess if you're going to stamp it today, you have to make the decision. Maybe. But I guess where I'm just at is like, no one should be no one should be on the inside. Everyone should have that feeling of they're all on the outside. And I'm not ready to make that call yet, because I do need to see more, because again, like in both with Ortiz and Quinn, and again, Roansy, I think less encouraging, but like there's been
Yeah.
encouraging stuff, but also stuff that makes you feel very uneasy. I still need to see more out of both of them till like I feel like come the end of March, I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy decision, but I'll have more behind me to I think make a larger stamp on who I'm ready to say who's on the inside at that point.
Yeah, I'm really glad we still have some time, because right now I am still very
That's
undecided.
the motto.
Right now, like, I don't want to say anything about, I don't want to like rubber stamp anything.
Right. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. But you have been encouraged.
Yeah.
And that's more than I think that we were feeling that was going to happen. Like Quinn Priester and I said it, like he almost feels like he's closer to not being a major league player than he is being a good major league player.
Last week I said I was about ready to give up on him.
Right. And like, I don't want to make that swing because he saw 4.2 innings today, but with the 4.2 innings that you saw today, leaves you encouraged to say, okay, let me see more. And then hopefully next week he gives you more and it's good. And you say, let me see more. And like, if it keeps continuing to build up and be good, like I guess going back to your 13th round thing, right? Quinn Priester does come with that pedigree. And Quinn Priester was like the poster boy of 2020. The hype got real for Quinn Priester, right? So like, he's been there. He's been a guy that you're expecting to. Luis Ortiz kind of came out of nowhere, but like you saw what he brought when he got that call up and such. The issue is you haven't seen that again from Luis Ortiz. And Quinn Priester, like, that stuff is still there with him. Why is that velocity sitting at 91, 92 last year? So now that it's back, it's like, okay, maybe that top prospect is here again. So I guess that's why you're kind of affording him that opportunity a little bit more also, because there was stuff there. The fastball was like an issue, but now with that two-seamer he's throwing, hitting 95 with it, hitting 96 basically with it, right? Getting kind of encouraged.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be afforded more opportunities because of where he was drafted, where he ranked in prospect lists. And you mentioned the velocity. Really, tonight's probably the first time we saw the velocity kind of peak up a little bit. Like it improved,
up, but it was noticeable.
Tonight was noticeably better.
Yes.
I'm getting back aboard the Quinn Priester train, I feel like. And last week when I said that I was about ready to give up on him, I meant like if he did not get through this year and he fell back into the Quinn Priester we saw last year, there wasn't much more to get out of him. This year, tonight, and really all spring training, I think we've seen a Quinn Priester that looks like he's learned how to pitch a good bit, because he's been able to get these ground balls. He's kind of learned who he is a little bit, I think. and we're going to see a lot more of it. And it's March 15th.
Yeah.
I'm not getting ahead of myself, but we're seeing bits and pieces of a guy that has learned how to get some outs without being able to just blow people away. Like we talked last night about Postgame, who can just do whatever the hell he wants on the mound and he's going to get an out. Quinn Priester's not that guy.
Right.
But Quinn Priester's going to have to learn how to pitch. And to this point in spring training, I think we've seen some progress in him just learning how to be a pitcher in Major League Baseball. Whether it translates into the regular season, well, that's yet to be known. But to this point, it's been very encouraging.
Yeah. That's fair. And I guess to also kind of go back to the stats don't matter viewpoint, they don't. We get that, right? They don't. But what I want to say is they're starting to. And for guys that are fighting for positions, right? Like things are going to start really mattering for Quinn Priester. And that kind of starts like right now because there is only two weeks left. You know, there's a lot of working with stuff. There's a lot of tinkering with things at first, right? Finding some stuff. But now you're kind of in the zone of like, there's a roster spot to be had. Do I want it or not? And there's those prove yourself moments. And tonight was kind of one of those also. Like this was a prove yourself moment of there's only a few more starts left. And Roansy doesn't look good, right? Dowry's hurt. Maybe Roansy's in the bullpen. Like maybe that's an option of maybe, getting me in here on this opening day roster. But yeah, like things are going to start to matter. So these stats and numbers and the pitching, right? Like all this stuff, the eyeball test, like everything is starting to actually matter for Quinn Priester if he's going to be getting paid as a major leaguer or sitting in Indy as a minor leaguer.
You know, and even like beyond that, we talk about opening day a lot during spring training, but opening day really doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
And where I'm going with it is that I think a good bit more comfortable with Quinn Priester coming up at some point when someone does go down than I did coming into this year.
Yeah.
Just based upon what we saw to this point.
But again, I still want to see more. But you're right.
Absolutely.
I mean, with what we're seeing tonight, again, it's very encouraging on the outlook of 2024 Quinn Priester because now we see he can throw 96.
Yeah. It's
You
a
know
little
what I
bit
mean?
more
Like that
like
slider did
there
look
might
good.
be something there.
Right. You know, that's what we're talking about. Like if he was still throwing 92 right now.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Like we know what this guy is. He's not
Yeah.
good. But now there's 96 and it's like, okay, maybe this guy is good.
Yeah.
So let's find out.
Yeah. I think his stock is rising.
For sure. So let's talk about the other end. Because again, the guy that's fighting for the rush spot, which as you kind of alluded to, probably had the inside track, Luis Ortiz. With his spring so far, it's again, like it's kind of been a mixed bag, but there's some encouraging things that feel like, I'm not too disappointed if he makes the opening day roster and he's like the number 5 starter or whatever. Somebody has to. Tonight, though, I'm not gonna say worrisome, but he was facing the B team of the Yankees. Right?
Yeah.
Quinn Priester was facing the good guys. Luis Ortiz comes in afterwards. He's facing the B squad more or less. And to me, it was just meh. What's funny, okay, and I'm saying this like an ironic thing, like is an alarm, buzzers need to go off or whatever. But Quinn Priester and Luis Ortiz is basically throwing about the same velocity today. I don't know,
Yeah.
like where's the good and bad in that? Like, Luis Ortiz or oh my, the good stuff, Quinn Priester. But it's like they're basically throwing about the same, and that's not good for Luis Ortiz's game.
Yeah, it just feels like we're waiting on Luis Ortiz to come back to that point where he was 2 years ago, where it felt like this guy is electrifying.
Rip it, kid.
Holy crap, we got something here. The last 2 years, like, it's not like he's not throwing hard. He's still throwing 96, 97, but command's not there. It's one of those guys that it feels like you look at him and you think reliever.
Maybe. Well, yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'm at with Ortiz at this point. And I want him to have one more shot as a starter. But watching him, it just feels like we're waiting on him to be a reliever.
Yes. But like that's what's kind of worrisome. And like let me go back to what you said last night. You brought this point on our game day. Like go back to the Huntington days. Like you talked about this farm system and the pitchers that are coming up and like the electric arms, the velocity. It's like back to the old Huntington days, right? And like the thing about Huntington days was, you know what? It's okay to miss. If you're gonna throw 100, right? It's harder to hit 100 than it is 97. And if you're a little bit erratic, like it's almost like whatever. And I guess that's what we're kind of like feeling like with Luis Ortiz. Like you said, like 96, 97 isn't bad, but you know what's better? 99, 100.
Right.
So just do that because that's what you were doing in 2022 when you got bumped up on all those prospect lists that made everyone go, who is this kid?
Right.
We got to pay attention. Now doing what you're doing, throwing 96, not even 97 really today, like 95, 96. It's just like, okay, you're just a guy. Like you're just a guy. And you're actually not even really a guy anymore.
Yeah. It's kind of upsetting seeing what's happened to him, but also when you look at the like grand scheme of things, he's the guy that like what do they call it? Like I don't know. He was kind of a flash in the bottle there. It was fun.
It was.
Maybe we got a little bit too excited over a guy that didn't have the talent that maybe we saw for like a game or two.
When you're like Vinny and you just love the rebuilding years, right? It's because of those flashes of fans like Luis Ortiz who comes in and you're like, wow, we got something here.
Yeah, it did feel like we had something there, but it's
now
I do still think there's something there, but he's a major league pitcher, I think. Regardless, it's just we're getting closer to the point where I feel like Luis Ortiz is going to be a bullpen arm.
And you also question like how good of a bullpen arm. It's not as if where some pitchers you're talking like, you know what, like Jared Jones I think is a good example. Like if he, which I think he's far away from, like he's probably a starter. But like again, like you talk about some of the arms, like if he doesn't work out as a starter, Ashcraft even, like if he's not a starter, he could be an electric bullpen arm. I don't know if I look at Luis Ortiz saying like he's going to be. You talk about that rubber stamp. I don't know if I'm ready to rubber stamp and say Luis Ortiz could be an electric arm in that bullpen. He might just be fine.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a good point because even we're watching him in spring training right now. He can't throw strikes in 1 inning spurts.
Right.
Throw strikes,
like,
dude.
Are you?
And you're not throwing as hard as you can.
Caminero? Or
like, flat out, you're not throwing as hard as you can, and you're still throwing balls.
Yeah.
And you have 1 inning to do it.
That's a good point. That's why I go like that's what frustrates me. Like if he was sacrificing the velocity and throwing strikes, like you might have an argument like, okay, this is the better version. But the problem is he's not. So just let it rip, young kid. Like just let it rip.
Yeah. No, I'm completely with you.
You saw, was it Bubba last night? Like again, when you have the velocity and you're throwing 7 inches above the strike zone, guys are still tempted to swing at it. But if you're throwing 95, 96, they're probably going to lay off of it. Like that's the difference we're talking about. Like you can be erratic, but you're probably going to still get more swing and miss out of
it. It makes you wonder if it's still in the tank with them. Like that 2022 guy that we saw at the end of the year, is that still there?
Maybe it's just
because we haven't seen it.
That's fair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You got to see it out of him at some point, other than dreaming on what we saw 2 years ago.
That's fair. What he's been this past year, and I guess a month because of spring training, is more than what he's been. Like that's who he's been more than that 2022 guy. So maybe this is just him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm not ready to say that, but that's who we've seen.
Yeah.
So that's a fair point. I don't know.
See, there's a lot of guys here that's just put up or shut up.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out throughout the year. Like, obviously, spring training is not going to be the answer for anything, but there's a lot of guys that have to make their mark here this year.
Right. Well, we talked about those two pitchers. Outside of that, like Kyle Nicholas came in.
That happened.
He did his thing, like, okay, he threw 3 pitches, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. No story there, I guess, with him. So let's get to the offensive side. A couple multi-hit games. So Jason Delay had a multi-hit game.
Oh, of course, you had to bring it up.
Of course. Hey, he's also battling for a
Naturally.
roster spot potentially.
He
Now
is.
Grandal being injured, maybe that helps him out, but like he's maybe kind of fighting for a roster spot, and he hasn't had a good spring, relatively speaking. So he had 2 hits today. Jack Brannigan had 2 hits today and a home run. So not that, again, like we're talking about people that move the needle, people that you're like matter this year. He's not really going to be one of them, but hey, kudos to Jack Brannigan. He hit a home run off of a major league starting pitcher.
No, I'm like interested in Jack Brannigan in general. It felt like, and I know the numbers don't support it, but it feels like every time I've watched him, he's had some pretty good at bats. Maybe it was just like me being stuck in when we were in Bradenton. It felt like he had good at bats every single time, and he hit the ball hard then. And then maybe he just fell off after that, and I just kind of got out of my drunken stupor.
The problem really just like how Ryan said, you're just way too optimistic. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, that might be it.
I mean, obviously, after your Michael A. Taylor emergency podcast, you are clearly a very optimistic
Obviously,
person.
everybody knows after that last podcast that I am super optimistic about everything.
Yes, because Tyler and optimism,
they run together. Peanut butter jelly, baby.
There you go. But yeah, again, like I mean, he's someone of interest to look out for, but he doesn't really matter for 2024. Kudos to him. What really matters is a guy like Jack Suwinski.
I love the fact you're just, he doesn't matter.
But he doesn't. I mean, honestly, he doesn't. Let's be real. He doesn't. Good for him. Maybe in 2025, we'll be talking to you about you a little more.
Probably not.
But for right now,
nobody cares about you, Jack.
Sorry.
Let's go on to the more important Jack.
Yeah, exactly. The bigger and better Jack. 3 hits tonight. Jack Suwinski had 3 hits in a game. And you know what, Tyler? It was a close game.
You know what?
These hits mattered.
Is this not like, this is Jack Suwinski. Like, coming into today, he was not good. And you look at his numbers.
Take it back. Like the past 2 games he's had, he's starting to heat up.
Okay.
The past 2 games he's
sorry.
But no, you're right. I just want to be truthful. But you're right, because he's been bad, and now it seems like he's heating up.
Yeah. This is Jack Suwinski. This is what you get with him. You get like 4 games of very good, and then you get terrible.
Right.
So if this team can figure out a way to have Jack Suwinski only play when he's really good, they're in great shape.
Yeah. I wonder what the secret sauce is. Is it like game by game, or is it like I have?
Yeah, we thought we had it figured out with the home and away split.
I have a 10 for 20 streak in me. So it's like if the Pirates are up, do they pull them out to save those bullets? Anyways, I'm just being facetious.
No, I actually I would think about that.
Save your bullets.
At this point, we're talking about a guy that we spent an offseason discussing how we would only play him at home because he only hit at home.
Right. He was Aaron Judge at home.
Yeah. He's weird.
He was worse than Austin Hedges away.
He is one of the best hitters in baseball for 4 to 5 games, and then he's awful for a month. And then he's one of the best hitters in baseball again.
Right.
For 4 to 5 games.
So here is, and again, in a semi-facetious way, right? What I've said about the addition of Michael A. Taylor, the reason I want him signed is because he actually makes a guy like Jack Suwinski better without doing anything. Because with Michael A. Taylor in center field, Jack goes to right. So, like, automatically his defense increases. Jack becomes a better player because he's in a better spot defensively to make him a better. So, like, if Jim wants him to be a 3-war player, he has a better path of doing it now because he's in right field, where he graded out much better defensively than in center. So, Jack is now a better player. And it happened. Like, Michael A. Taylor signed today and didn't even have to take the field and make Jack Suwinski a better player. Jack goes out there and has 3 hits, a home run, 3 RBIs. The Michael A. Taylor effect is already happening, Tyler. This is why you were completely wrong.
You know what here's my theory here. Jack Suwinski is going to be amplified by Michael A. Taylor because we're going to realize how much better Jack Suwinski is than Michael A. Taylor.
Whatever.
Because they both strike out at an alarming rate. That is just a dumb rate. But Jack Suwinski actually like hits home runs, and Michael A. Taylor just pretends to play good defense.
We're not going to go down that path again. But yeah, big day for Jack Suwinski. Again, like, his spring means nothing to me because he could literally go
same thing last year.
Spring. And again, like that was his 2023 July. And he was still a 2-war player. Like, and we saw his spring last year. Again, we were talking like, should he be in AAA? And we saw what his year-end numbers were. Yeah. So, like, it means nothing to me. Again, I want to see more consistency out of him. I don't know if we will. It's going to matter in the season. Spring doesn't. But, hey, 3 hits tonight for Jack Suwinski. And no doubter. I think this was out in 22 Major League ballparks. Yeah.
No, like,
good game, Jack.
No, and I am way more comfortable with Jack Suwinski this year because I feel like the lineup is constructed a lot better, or that you're not relying on a guy like Jack Suwinski to carry them as much as really they had to last year after O'Neal Cruz went down.
Fair. Yep, definitely deeper, definitely a lot more options, and just better. Just better overall. Michael A. Taylor adding to that.
Yeah, sure. He's going to hit 9. God, if he hits leadoff, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind.
No.
Oh, they will.
No.
They will.
No.
They will.
No. But anyways. So, I don't know. Hey, we've now spent 33 minutes on a post game where we said, what are we going to talk about tonight? True. We probably could wrap this up here. So, again, the Pirates do win 6-2. Great outing by Quinn Priester. Keep it up. Still a lot of intrigue, still a lot of question marks, but shortly we're probably seeing a new outfielder into the fold here, also playing some games. And let's see what this team has. Regardless, though, that outfield defense has improved. Whether you like Taylor's overall, I think it's overrated or whatever. Jack in right field, Taylor in center, B-Ray in left. That's a good defense. So for guys like Luis Ortiz and Rowan Z, and maybe not so much Quinn Priester, but probably Quinn Priester, that's going to help those guys out also.
Look, at the end of the day, the Pirates did get better. Not to the point that I would have liked them to. That's where I'm at.
That's fair. That you can admit, and they've gotten better. Your just level of excitement of the increase isn't as high as others.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Because at the end of the day, is Josh Palacios in right field starting on opening day going to be good for you? Good guy. Probably not.
Right. So there you go. So Jack Brannigan, Josh Palacios, now both of you don't matter, is what Tyler said.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Not my words, your words.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to come on podcast, that's fine.
Anyways, let's wrap this up. Let's get out of here. I do believe tomorrow we'll be back for another post game. If I'm not mistaken. Sunday, my bad. Sunday we'll be back for another post game. So tomorrow, off day. I think we'll have some videos out though again tomorrow. Sunday we'll be back, and then of course Starbucks on Monday. So, with that said, Tyler, thank you for doing double duty. Everyone, we're out of here. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, But if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.